So it is about 3:42 in the morning. And let me tell you, I've tried filming this video for the last, I don't know, 5 hours or so because there's just so much information to show you guys. It's so excited that I've tripped over myself trying to include this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing because what I have for you today is the Axe Full Financial Picture Master Sheet. This is a sheet that I've been working on with my wife that honestly, I wish I would have had so long ago, but we just didn't have it. We had it in separate documents in separate ways, but we never just aggregated all of it. And the main reason why we never just put it all together was honestly fear. It just came down to fear and kind of outsourcing expertise to other people. We'd hired on a CFO, a controller, we've had CPAs, we've had so many different people, so many different things, but there's something powerful when you actually build something yourself. So, what is this Axe Full Financial Picture Master Sheet? Why am I geeking out about it? Well, first off, just look at the name of it. Axe Full Financial Picture Master Sheet. It is literally the full financial picture. This is what we deal with day to day at Axe Centralized Real Estate. And it answers questions on where our income streams come from, where those income streams end up going. This is a document that's going to be a living document. You keep on adding to it over the course of time. It's not the type of thing that you ever quite fully perfect. But what I love so much about this is that it was created by hand. It was not created by AI. We verified numbers to ensure that there were no wrong numbers, but this is not AI nonsense. This is actually my wife and I sitting down and building it out together. Now, how does it work? At the very bottom of the sheet, you can see that there's different tabs. You click on any one of the tabs and you can go see different topics to discuss within this master sheet. The reason it says scrubbed up here is because we have scrubbed it of all sensitive information. This is a copy of the real life, actual Axe Full Financial Picture, but I just wanted to remove sensitive data, such as, for example, in our real version, we have contracts in there. We have people's names, phone numbers, addresses in there. So I wanted to remove all of that. Now, part of the reason that I'm showing you this is to address a lot of commentary concerns and honestly, a lot of the gossip, a lot of the smears, a lot of different things that I've heard. Because ever since we had the last State of the Union address, there was a lot of questions that would come up with people like, how could it be possible that you'd be at zero? How could you be struggling with all of this stuff? And some of it would be well-meaning and very understandable, but other times it would just be some pretty hard swipes. We've had to get rid of, we've had to get rid of and lay off some different employees. So I've heard how they've talked about different things, and part of my motivation in creating this was we just needed it for ourselves, but then at the same time, there's this element of how the truth shall set us free. And that's exactly what this document does, in my opinion, because it really shows people the reality of what it takes to get one of these properties up and running. So let's just dive in. Let's just dive in to understand what we've got here. Okay, so this first page shows the overall loans that we have. And this does not even include anything from Creo Ranch. This is generally just showing Little G Ranch and Panoplia Ranch. Now, at the bottom here, this total will show the principal that has been paid back to loans and acquisitions. This is what it takes to just get a property up and running. And this is the first piece that I wanted everybody to see. Just between Little G and Panoplia, getting Little G up and running by paying back $4.3 million, getting Panoply up and running, paying in $3.72 million, then another $1.95 million in principal, and another $1.3 million. We're already at more than $11.47 million just to get these properties up and running, which is incredible. Then in these columns, what I've actually done is I've added up the other payments that we've had that you find in these other tabs. And you can see how the bills start racking up. And these are not projections. This is not future payments. This is not, oh, well, maybe in the future we have to pay this. These are actual invoiced payments that we have. So we can see that just to get these properties up and running, it's been $11.47 million. Then when you add in the interest payments that we've had on Panoplia Ranch, that's $1.38 million just on interest payments for Panoplia alone, bringing us to a total of $12.85 million. You add in all of the angels that have asked for refunds, even though you're not supposed to ask for a refund as an angel. We have paid back $1,067,500 back to angels, even though angels are not actually supposed to ask for their money back. We still have another $1.7 million, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But for now, if we just look at what's actually been paid in, it's been $1,067,500 paid in angel refunds. So that brings us to $13.9 million. We add in the Wanted Raw Foods expenses. It's been about $1.593 million that has been paid in to Wanted Raw Foods. We're now at $15.5 million. Add in Ranch Hand League expenses. That's $2.462 million. We're now at $17.978 million to run Axe. Add in the business credit card expenses that have been spent through Ramp. Add in the expenses paid on Little G Ranch, $944,000. Now we're at $19.6 million. You add in payroll expenses, not even including myself, just payroll for the team in general. We're now at $21.7 million. Add in Stripe refunds. So these are people who have paid in for a parcel reservation and then have decided to refund. Well, that's another $404,000. So people like to talk online about, oh, Axe must be some type of scam. How it's a scam. It's a scam. It's a scam where we paid back. Okay, we paid back in refunds more than my actual personal expenses overall over these years. I paid more people back their money in refunds than I've had as an actual personal income. If we add up 1,067,000 and 404,000. So then we actually have personal expenses. People always like to ask, how much have you made over the last 3 years in running Axe? It's been about $1.45 million in the last 3 years running Axe. Add in the payouts for Wanted Raw Foods. It's $63,000. And then the value of the parcels that angels have received. We are now at $26.4 million. And again, that is not even factoring in Creo Ranch. That is not factoring in Little G West. This is just to have some land, make it available, and start the ranching, start the operations, and pay for the different people who might be there on any given ranch. Now, the next thing that really stands out to me is our payroll and the key strategic switch that we made. So in the last State of the Union address, I'd said, hey, we have to make a major restructuring. And we did. We went from about 26 employees that were getting paid about $84,000 every 2 weeks, $170,000 per month, or what would be about $2 million per year, down to just 9 employees that only require $31,000 per 2 weeks and $62,000 per month, or about $750,000 per year, with a 7-month reserve of $438,000. What stands out to me about this is that we actually become more efficient and are able to strike better with a smaller 9-person team than we were when we had a 26-person team. Because when you have 26 people, that's 26 different personalities, 26 people inserting their ideas and miscommunicating. You have to have meetings for all of these different things. When you have 9 people, you have reduced meetings, you have better communication, reduced payroll, and it's simply been better across the board. Now, in these, you're going to see something that says 7-month reserve. What that 7-month reserve means is it's an idea that I actually got from a Christian business coach that I've been talking to in the last few weeks. His name is Adam Weisner. I'd actually prayed to the Lord to give me an answer on what to do in very clear language. And I'd actually found Adam's book less than 2 minutes after I'd made that prayer. So in the book, Adam talks about the net 7 method, where you want to have 7 months of operating cash reserve for your business. So one of the focuses that we had was to think to ourselves, okay, what does it take to get to that 7-month reserve? And for us, with current operations, that 7-month reserve is $438,000. That means if we can raise $438,000, then we can know for a fact that the team will have an operating cash reserve for the next 7 months, no matter what else is going on, which is a major reason why I wanted to make this video for you. We want angels to step up to the Angels 2.0 program so that we can raise at least $500,000 in the next coming week. The reason for that is because, number one, we have cash needs right now, not in the future, right now, with some of the crisis and some of the difficulties that we've had thus far. But also, if we can reach $500,000 raised, then keep that in a reserve for operational expenses, then we can ensure that no matter what fluctuations are going up or down, we have the people necessary to make it through those operational delays. At the moment, when we had the previous payroll, we weren't able to do that because money would just go drained out so ridiculously fast the way things were previously being operated. But now we can have the privilege and the luxury of taking our time and knowing the fact that we have reserves available for our people. So if you're listening in, we need you as an angel. There has never been a more important time. I actually was going to end the Angels program after this capital raise. Kara said, why end it? So I'm not going to say, hey, we're going to literally end it. Even though we do have a new sales model that is coming up. But if you're listening to this, we need you. This is critical. Go to Skool, watch Angels 2.0, make it through the entirety of the videos where we go through the entire Angels 2.0 contract. We need Axe Angels. It is absolutely critical for where we're at. As I said, the expenses we have are insane, not because of some just random expenditures, but because the fact of the matter is getting one of these properties up and running is a lot. And so what's most critical to doing that is being able to ensure that we have the team available to help us out. We've cut it down to 9 heavy hitters that I can ride or die with, and we need to be able to take care of them. So now let's talk about how our properties actually work in terms of earning a profit. This is Little G Ranch. You can see here the actual parcels that we sold in what order and what happened to them. So you can see that the first properties that we sold off, the money went directly to Paradigm, the lender, to pay off the loan. We did not make a single dollar on any of these properties until after the loan was fully paid off. We paid off over $4.3 million. From there, we started to earn an actual profit from the properties that we got to sell, leaving us with a net revenue of $1.97 million. But then you can click here on expenses on little g to see the invoices that we've had on, for example, roads, on fiber optic cables, on concrete, on architecture, everything that's gone on to set up little g. And in doing that, we actually find that not $1.97 million immediately goes down to about $1 million. And by the way, from that $1 million, you might ask, well, what happened with it from there? Well, some of it actually went into opening up new potential properties because you have to do new surveys. You have to put in money, put in earnest money deposits, different things like that. And that's where a lot of where that money went. So now we have Panoplia, okay? And it's the same overall story. Unfortunately, right now at the time of this recording, we don't have the expenses on Panoplia list because we're gathering that one together as well. But you can see here that there was money that was paid in by the individual families as the down payment towards a double close that allowed us to acquire Panoplia Ranch. That money is not money that we got to see. That is money that went straight into the deal. Okay, over $3.7 million. After that, we've had more sales, but on those sales, the parcels would have what's called the lien release taken out. So every single time we sell a parcel, we have to pay a lien release fee that's generally about $120,000 to $125,000 per parcel. And we also have to pay for real estate commissions on real estate agents that no longer even work with us anymore, that we actually have to be in a big lawsuit with to get them to break the contract. That means that they get money despite doing absolutely no work. So anyways, we actually look at it, we basically sold just as many parcels in the last year and a half as we did on that first day. And that's been one of the things that's been killer for us, because these parcels over here, they have a huge lien release fee, but even though you've made $2.2 million when you put in the sales commissions and then the interest payments that we've been paying to Builders Circle every single month between 80 all the way down to $60,000 nowadays, that adds up. So that out of the $2.2 million that we've actually made at Panoplia, you really only have $784,000 left over. And then if you consider that there's other payouts that go to Axelrad Capital, for example, who helped us as the bridge lenders for Panoplia, you actually technically go underwater. We are actually losing money right now on Panoplia compared to actually making money over on Panoplia. So now we have a representation of property owners that have put in angel funds and are getting their individual parcels. So we can see that they're getting about $2.775 million of parcels at Little G and over at Panoplia. Over here, we can see angel refunds requested. We can see different requests for different states. I scrubbed people's names here. And again, people are requesting right now another $1.7 million, but we've up to this point been able to successfully refund about $1,067,000. One of the hardest things was that we actually had a bunch of people ask for a refund at the same time. So it's never just that people just, ask for a refund at different times. It's almost like it happens in clusters, even though the people don't really know each other. And it's for different weird scenarios, different weird circumstances. It can be hospitalizations, different things like that. So Here we have expenses on potential properties. These are properties that we didn't even end up moving forward with because it just ended up not working out. And here we have payroll by company. So when we talk about payroll by company, this is Axe Centralized Real Estate, Axe Homes, Axe Ranch Hand League Florida, Axe Ranch Hand League, Visto LLC, and Wanted Raw Foods. The number of years is how long it was entered into Gusto, right? So we actually did Access Centralized Real Estate for 1 year before we then switched it over to Visto LLC for the next 2 years after that. So when we look at this, okay, what are the total amounts that have been paid in? Across the board, across all companies, payroll has been about $3.42 million. If we take out RHL and Wanted, because we don't want to double count that, considering that we do have the tracking for the Ranch Hand League and Wanted Raw Foods expenses, then Visit LLC, which includes marketing, sales, admin, legal, survey fees, all of those things like that, then it's been about $2 million total that has been paid in, or about an average of about $1.1 million per year across all of the employees. Now, one thing that stands out to me is the super, super, super high average amount of money paid per employee for each one of these companies. Like the payroll was just way, way too high across the board. Some of it seems deflated compared to what it actually is because you have executives that have made far more than that. Okay, Angels 2.0 Master Tracker goes over all of the Angels 2.0 payments that we've had so far. And you can see that every single person has chosen the 120-day deferment period with the option B, which is 1.5% accrual on their credits. Refunded deposits is from people putting in Stripe land stake reservations. So they put in the land stake reservations, like $2,500. And then we've had people refund. So these refunds are tracked over here on this sheet. RHL and wanted expenses. This shows how many franchise shares there are, how many franchise sales have been totally made, as well as the average sales price per franchise share and where the expenses have gone. Now, there's a few things that stand out to me about this that are major problems, okay, and major red flags that I did not pick up until looking at this, okay? The first one is the price of the average franchise. It's way too low, okay? When people aren't paying in full for their franchises, then that means that you don't have the capital to pay for feed and pay for payroll and pay for animals. Generally speaking, when you have a franchise, it's supposed to be that around 40% is going to animals, and then you've got feed, and then you've got expenses for payroll. But when you eliminate $37,000 out of the price of a franchise, that really suppresses things and makes things more difficult. And that's just, it becomes unacceptable because to me, it explains a lot of the delays that have gone on with animals. It's very obvious to me that a lot of deals were made in haste and in rush. And that's led to problems later on down the line, problems that we have to mitigate for now. So if you actually look at it, the accounting has been kind of insanely good when it comes to the Ranch Hand League expenses in terms of just knowing the fact that money has been spent. But the big problem is that it's not been spent on the right things. It's spent way too much of it on payroll and not enough of it on getting more animal fulfillment done. And ultimately, that is why we had to make a lot of changes, a lot of changes. Now we have wanted raw foods payouts through Q1. So these are the different amounts of money that we've shared out in the different quarters quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four, quarter one, 2026, compared to the net sales. So these are net sales represented in Shopify. And what we can see here is that about $63,000 has been distributed, which would be about 31.56%. But part of that is that it was a little bit inflated because we did not account for the shipping payments that had to go in and some of the packaging payments that had to go in. Part of it was to not have to kind of give people like a sense of training wheels. But I wish that we would have not done that. I wish that from the beginning, people would have the proper expectations, because then they would be able to see the growth that has actually occurred, because they'll be thinking to themselves, well, things were 5,000 or 7,000 or 20,000, when the reality is this time period, there were actually fewer sales than this time period. There was actually more sales here in this time period. But the fact of the matter is, the training wheels were not off at that time. And so that's a major issue. All right. So going back to it, what do we learn from all of this? Okay. You can go through, you can use this. I've got a link that I'm going to share out to everybody. You can play around with this to be able to see what's going on with expenses, what's going on with the befores and afters, and all of those different pieces. But if you take away one message from this whole thing, let it be that we really do rely on your support and your assistance for our operations. Slashing down payroll, getting a grip on where we're currently at, and tracking the numbers, tracking the expenses, tracking the profits in, that can only go so far. What we need now are people to step up as angels and to step up with our brand new land auction program, because I believe that this land auction program is going to be a major key to us getting out of the pressure that we currently feel from the lenders and from the interest payments that we have to continue to make out. So with that being the case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually switch over to show you what I'm talking about and what I'm thinking about when I mention our new land auction model. So just give me one moment. So one of the main issues that stood out to me in working through the full financial picture is the pressing need we have to speed up the sales process. And the way I think we can do that is through a new concept of having land auctions. So let me just work through an example of what a Panoplia land auction would look like so that I can get some feedback from you guys. Again, we need help from you guys as angels. We also need feedback from you guys if you would like to participate in this land auction. All right, so let's just think about it. This would be an auction for the 10 to 15 acre parcels over at Panoplia Ranch, which is about 30 minutes away from Sebring and 2.5 hours away from Orlando, West Palm, Tampa, and Miami, and perfect for off-grid homesteading. This land auction would stand out because of one main thing: reserve pricing. If you go to the website right now and you look at the parcels over at Panoplia, the way they're currently priced, it just assumes the value of every single parcel. And the problem with that is that people aren't really sure what's good, what's not good. They're not really sure what to pay. And so we're going through a time period where people are taking forever. They really have no sense of urgency for just moving forward with their individual parcels. And that's what's made life so absolutely miserable for us during the summer. But when we look at reserve pricing, what we're doing is we're saying, okay, if we add up all of the loans, all the commissions, all the roads, all the livestock, and all the bills that we have, as well as all the refunds that we need to make, then we can put that all together and we can figure out the lowest pricing possible for these individual parcels. Now, the margin will have to come from operations and obligations being held up and being paid for, but we want to make sure that the reserve pricing is the best opportunity possible, and then allow people to start bidding against each other so that the highest price wins. This idea of reserve pricing, I actually get it from eBay. If you go to eBay, every single auction will say starting at X dollars, and you can't bid below whatever the seller says is the lowest amount. So sometimes it'll be $1, but other times it might be $1,000, and they're just not going to allow anybody to go below that reserve pricing. It would be that same idea, but with an auction for land over at Panoplia, where you have a reserve price. It's the lowest price possible. You know people are going to bid on it. And if someone wants to hit buy now, they can, and they can just click the buy now at the price that we've already previously set it at. And the reason I think this is such a powerful way of doing things, this everything must go type mindset, is because it allows us to move on while paying off loans, paying off livestock, paying off roads, paying off bills, and refunding our current angels without having to wait around. I mean, Panoplia, for example, it's been almost 2 years. We've not made that much more progress. It's been in 2 years, we sold as many parcels as we sold in one day, and we've been waiting around. But we can slash prices down. For example, the reserve price for our $450,000 parcel might only be $300,000. The reserve price for a $300,000 parcel is only $250,000, and the reserve price for a $250,000 parcel might be as low as $200,000. This would allow us to come in about $50,000 lower than what you currently find in the area, and it brings people in to start placing more bids. So how can this become the most powerful shift in Axe history? And how do I feel that switching to this auction model, it's kind of proof of God's glory? Like, it's not even my own idea. Well, first off, I was actually never going to come up with this idea on my own because I was asleep when I got it. But second off, I actually had huge resistance to the idea of ever having an auction, because I thought of an auction as kind of like a last resort thing. Like, oh man, like everything's going poorly. Let me now go do an auction. But I thought about it and I realized that starting with auctions basically solves every single problem all at once. And I just have to trust in the margins, knowing that it's going to be affordable, but it'll still be able to earn a profit. Because if done right, this really can be the new model for Axe permanently, because it can explode sales and it will allow us to get to our end goal of helping 1 million people across the country and around the world buy land, grow food, and move fully off grid. We can even use this for overseas projects. Okay, so let me explain how it would work, and I want to hear your guys' feedback on this. Okay, so there's really 3 steps to it. People will just gather info and do their research, then they'll place a bid, and then they'll close on their parcel if they win that bid. So people will find us on Instagram and YouTube, and then they'll go to our website, axdecentralizedrealestate.com, where they will find one of our land auctions. In this case, Panoplia Ranch. Our goal on the webpage is to put as many pieces of info as possible, as well as FAQs for those individual parcels, while encouraging people to visit and look at the bid grid to place their own bid. Now, step two is for them to look at the available and reserved parcels. At the very beginning, if a parcel has no bids, then it will just show the reserve pricing. It's going to be priced at X price, $200,000. If it does have a bid, it should show what the current highest bid is. And there should be a buy now price that a person can just simply reserve now with, and that would automatically win them that parcel. So from there, people place their bids, and the highest bid becomes the winner. From there, to ensure that people close on their parcel, we want to make sure that people have only 24 hours to make sure that they move forward with their non-refundable deposit and sign their necessary contracts. If they don't do it, then things will go to the next highest bidder, who can use cash or financing to buy their individual parcel of land. Once people use cash or financing, then they can close. And once they close, they can start their ranch, they can start their build, or we can help them start their business. Ultimately, our goal with the auctions is to sell out at the reserve price. If we can do that, if we can sell properties out at the reserve price, then we have enough money for loans, roads, livestock, refunds, payroll, reserves, and minimum salary for everyone. God told me about this, and I thought, well, what happens to profits? What happens to, being able to make a living with this stuff? Because in some ways, the reserve price, I don't make any money on reserve price at all, like literally whatsoever. But God explained it to me this way. He's like, hey, look, you're solving a fundamental problem, and this will allow massive scale. You solve this problem, you'll be able to help out with people all across the nation. So don't worry about that. You can just want to nail this down now. And then if you can repeat it for all properties in the future, Creole, Little G, wherever it might be. But then you can take it on to other places like Montana, Canada, to California, North Carolina. And as soon as he did that, as soon as I started thinking about that, then I've had meeting after meeting after meeting with new people who want to partner with us and want to move forward with us. And I believe that this auction model is the way that we can do it. So where does that leave us with? What are our next key steps? Okay. These are the main things. I want you to let me know, number one, what you think about this new auction model. Number two, I want you to join the wait list for one of these auctions. And if you do have any ideas, then please go ahead and send me your ideas. But more than anything else, if you are interested in ever buying land with us at Access Centralized Real Estate, we need you to consider becoming an angel. All you have to do is go through the Angels 2.0 page to help us get to a place of net 7. Help us get to a place where we can make sure that there's reserve for our employees, and so that we can maintain operations and keep this ship running. We're the only ones in the world who do what we do the way that we do it. We've invented and trademarked the word franchise. We started Want Raw Foods. We have fought through so many different difficulties. And frankly, I've gone through so many different forms of humiliation, so many different forms of learning lessons. I've had to face and atone for a lot of my mistakes, but I believe that this new auction model can really allow me to atone for every single one of the mistakes that I've made. I believe that it's the key to us paying off these lenders, paying back all these angels, making sure that we can get and rectify all these issues that have been there with roads and infrastructure, get things back to the right place with all the animals that we have by simply using the reserve pricing to earmark the necessary amounts so that we can have the animals, have the livestock, have the operations that we've always wanted. I had to go through smear campaigns, had to go through so much ridicule, so many people coming to me, criticizing us, criticizing our family, talking about how much we pay ourselves and we just don't care. But I hoped with this video that I could actually show that no, we do care a lot. I care a lot. And I really need the help, guys. We really need the help. It's never been this hard. It's never been this hard. But I know deep in my heart that I didn't make it this far just to make it this far. And I know that despite all the people who've come to me and said and told me that I should quit, and how much I've messed up, and I have messed up a lot, and I know I have. As dumb as it sounds, I think that all of my mess ups are exactly what qualify me to do what I do as the CEO of Axe. I don't think that God would put a man through all of these different things, through getting cheated on, lied on, bamboozled, backstabbed, all of these things. I don't think it was just for nothing. I think it was actually to give wisdom. And I have this idea of this of God's bow and arrow, where sometimes he'll pull you back. He'll pull you back. So then when he lets you go, you just start flying off. And I think that this video, and I think that this time period, I think that that's exactly what this is. I think that all these trials and tribulations, they're not even a punishment. I think they've just been the training ground for what's about to come next. Because if we can build up to net 7, if we can raise $500,000 this week through the Angels program, if some of you watching this really feel it, drop the BS and just watch the videos to join the Angels program to support us. And we can get this auction model up and running. The auction model unlocks so much for everybody. If we can nail this auction model, if we have the time, if we have the capital and the time to just get it right, sell out Panoplia, and then use it for Creo, use it for Little G, we can also help other people around the country and around the world use this model to also get properties up and running. We can start in I'm getting reached out to by people who want to partner in Montana, in North Carolina, in Maui, in Italy, in Costa Rica, all of these different places. And it doesn't require any lending whatsoever. We can eliminate all lenders. So that's what's at stake here. It's not just me. It's not just my life and my family. I'm tired of all the rumors talking about, oh, well, the money goes here, goes there. No, I'm making all of this publicly available for you for a reason with the actual real numbers. Because if we can make it through this, if we can raise capital here now, we can make it through this and we can get this auction model up and running, it is the death knell to what the enemy has been trying to do to us. Okay? It changes absolutely everything. We can help not just hundreds, but tens of thousands, millions of people if we can do this. So I've been beaten, I've been battered, I've been bruised. It's been so painful. But the restructures that we've had are so necessary. And I'm going to talk more about the restructures in other videos. There's massive restructuring that had to happen with the Ranch Hand League, massive restructuring that had to happen with Wanted Raw Foods. If all of this didn't happen now, it was going to be worse later. And so we had to make the right decisions to cut off cancers before they spread further throughout the entire company. But now that we've cut all of those things off that were really, really, really holding us back, this is going to be really special. And I hope, I pray, I know that God's going to take us through this. There's no way that I've been talking to the people that I've been talking to and for all of it to be nothing. There's no way. Colt did not die for nothing. We did not build this whole company up for nothing. We did not invest how much money? $26.5 million for nothing. People have not moved across country, spent their life savings for nothing. I heard another metaphor about why it happens, that the closer you get to the goal, the more opposition you face. And they said that when you play a basketball game, when you're on the other side of the court and you're not even close to the rim, nobody's going to guard you. You can run around free. But if you got the ball and it's the fourth quarter and it's the last seconds and you're driving to the hole and you're about to dunk on them, of course you're going to have 2 or 3 people jumping up, putting as much of a distraction in your face as humanly possible because you're about to dunk on them. And that's exactly what's going on. The enemy is trying to get in our faces. And when he saw that it couldn't work with me, he tried to go after my executives and my own wife. And when he saw that I would cut off any executives, and I would even face my fears through my own wife, then he went to the buyers and he tried to scare the buyers. And now that he couldn't, there tried to be smear campaigns and accusations and trials and all this other stuff with my own buyers. Now that won't work, now it's for the next people. And the next people is everybody who's watching this now. So if you have the ability to join Angels 2.0, it's good for you. It's an actually good program. It's a really great deal. You get to accrue 1.5% credit towards your parcel of land when you choose to move with us at Axe, when you join Angels 2.0. And in doing so, you help us get to a point of a net 7 months of operations that allows us to be able to breathe and be able to move forward. We're on our last breath. It's not just me who struggles. This video, we weren't even sure if we could get it out to everybody because we can't even pay for the necessary uptime for our website. But I know, and I read the Psalms, and I look at what happens in those Psalms, and I know that this is part of the process. The fact of the matter is, David, before he was anointed as king, screwed up so badly that he had all of the women and children get taken hostage, and his own people were going to draw him. We're going to basically corner him and hang him for his screw-ups. Elon Musk one time won an award for worst entrepreneur in the entire world in 2007. Walt Disney, he almost lost Disney like 6 different times. And Steve Jobs was kicked out of Apple. And Donald Trump went bankrupt like at least 11 different times. He's gone bankrupt so many different times. So I'm well aware of my screw ups. I'm well aware of how awful it is to be in this place where there's just nothing, and be in this place where it just seems like everything's over. But there's something inside of me that just knows. It really, really just knows. The worse it's gotten, the closer I actually am, and the closer we actually are to massive, massive change. So I don't know if anybody's going to listen to this. I don't know if anybody's going to pay attention to this. But I thank you for doing so. And I thank you for joining us in the Angels 2.0 program. And I thank you for joining us with one of these land auctions. And I thank you for going through the Axe full financial picture sheet. And I thank you for sticking by with me.